on the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Shields, we're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. University of Iowa Healthcare. Changing medicine, changing lives. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa basketball reached into the transfer portal in mid-April and found Drew Thelwell, a 6'3", 195-pound guard from Ohio Valley Conference champion Morehead State. A team captain on a 26-9 team, Thelwell averaged 8 points and 6 assists. Played 35 minutes a game and was a big reason the Eagles were invited to the NCAA tournament, where they were eliminated by Illinois. Iowa coach Fran McCaffrey says Drew Thelwell has a complete skill set with exceptional passing abilities and is a tremendous fit for the Hawkeye program. Thelwell started 68 games as a junior and senior, and in his 3 years on the roster, helped lead Morehead State to 91 victories. That's the most in school history. Iowa's newest edition joins us in a minute on the Fight for Iowa podcast, sponsored by Athletico, UIHC, Iowa Corn, and Shields.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
To anyone passing through our state, fields and fields of corn might be what they see. But the people who call Iowa home know it's so much more. Corn is ethanol, a homegrown, renewable fuel. Corn is delicious pork, beef, poultry, and dairy. Corn is in 4,000 products we rely on every day. So yeah, our highway views are full of corn, and we're proud of it. Because corn grows Iowa. Show your support for Iowa corn farmers at iowacorn.org/fan of corn.
Tickets are on sale now for the Hy-Vee IndyCar Race Weekend Concert Series. Saturday, July 13th, see Luke Combs and Eric Church. And Sunday, July 14th, see Post Malone and Kelsey Ballerini live in concert. 1 ticket per day gets you into a race and 2 concerts. Tickets on sale now at HyVeeIndyCarWeekend.com.
Are aches, pains, or injuries keeping you on the sidelines? At Athletico, our movement experts are here to help you turn your setbacks into comebacks and create a personalized game plan for your recovery. With no prescription or referral needed, Athletico Physical Therapy is where your comeback story begins. Get started today by scheduling a free assessment at athletico.com. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
New Iowa point guard Drew Thelwell is expected to step right in and fill the void created by the departures of Tony Perkins and DeSante Bowen. Thelwell led the Ohio Valley Conference in assist-to-turnover ratio at nearly 3-1. Thelwell can score. 37 double-figure games bear that out, and 6 times he surpassed 20 points or better. He'll tell you first and foremost he loves to push the ball, and Iowa's system does that and allows you to play free. Thelwell added he was looking for the right fit, and with the Iowa coaches and players, he found it.
Morehead might be one of the slower-paced teams, and I knew no matter what school had called me, the pace of play was going to be different. That's the funny part about it. But it started with Coach McCaffrey. He was the first person to call me on the staff. And that meant a lot. And they called a lot, but they called a lot. They stayed in contact for a long time. And I was one of their first people on a visit. And that meant a lot. And when I got there, I got off the plane it like something hit me walking around that airport. It was just like a familiarity. And I was like, you know what? I haven't even been here, and I just got this gut feeling. And I was like, you know what? I feel like this is the one.
That's an interesting comment because, Fran's signature, certainly one of the hallmarks of his coaching career, is he identifies guys with, as he always likes to say, characters number one.
I remember just like the conversations with him. I can just tell he's on top of his stuff. Like it's not a coach that's just trying to sell you something. Like he truly means what he says.
Your numbers, you talk about Morehead State being more of a deliberate style of team. Your numbers are very consistent in terms of points per game, assists, rebounds, Drew. So I guess my point is, you adjust to the style of play.
For sure. And I think I adjust to kind of my teammates as well. Especially this year, we had a player of the year on our team, so he took most of the shots, and I have no problem with that. Whatever's gonna get the team to win, like I'm all for it. So my assist numbers went from like 2 to 6, so it's just like I found other things that I was good at, and the game slowed down for me. So it's just I adapted. All I care about, honestly, and all I've cared about for 4 years is just winning. Just keep winning.
That's the way it should be. And who were the players you met when you first got to Iowa City? Who hosted you? Who took you around campus? Tell us about the visit.
No, for sure. Josh Dix was the one that hosted me. But honestly, it felt like the whole team hosted me. We went to coach's house for dinner and everything. And, I grabbed my plate. I'm looking for somewhere to sit. They're like, bro, why don't you sit here? Sit here. I'm like, oh, man. Like, it just got a good feeling that they introduced themselves to my father first. And I was like, that's big, because we were sitting watching them work out. And they came over and shook his hand and everything. I was like, okay, that's big. That speaks a lot on their character.
Where's your hometown? Tell us about your family and your high school.
Orlando, Florida. My high school is the Masters Academy. They were a Nike school. Played some good competition down there. But my family, my dad and my mom are both from Jamaica, actually. They met in New York, and then they eventually moved down to Florida. And I have a younger sister. She's a freshman at Yale. So in the house, I'm not the smart kid.
Of course, you know all about the Big Ten, the academics. It's so much more than just athletics, basketball, football. It's a great league, and now we've grown to 18 schools, and I'm sure the competition that you're going to face had a lot to do with your decision.
For sure, and I would say especially this year, which it kind of is funny how it worked out. We played a lot of Big Ten teams this year, and I got a good taste of the Big Ten. So coming into the portal, I was like, okay, like a couple of Big Ten schools were calling me. I was like, you know what? Like I was comfortable. Like I felt comfortable playing. I was like, yeah, I can do this. It was just a matter of time on what school I decided to pick.
It's interesting you comment about the style of Morehead where you're more of a slow down team. Yet you're 26-9. You made the NCAA tournament. You've got a couple of Ohio Valley Conference championships, both the postseason tournament as well as regular season title. To your point, it's all about winning. Doesn't matter how you get to the finish line as long as you win. And so what do you see as the challenges coming from a slower type more deliberate style of offense to a team that gets up and down the floor, both offensively and defensively?
Honestly, for offense, I think it's just knowing when to take the right shot because especially when we played, we used the clock to our advantage. But, in Coach McCaffrey's system, he wants to get shots up quick. So just knowing which ones are the right ones, just getting that feel for it real in the summer or whatever. And then defensively, need stops. If games are going to go back and forth, you need stops. You need to get stops or else if the team puts the ball in the hole a little bit more than you do, it doesn't work out well.
What did you know about Iowa prior to making the trip to Cedar Rapids and Iowa City?
Well, Caitlin Clark is very global. So I think almost everybody knew about Iowa before I even got, the call. It's just crazy what she can do, and even when I went out there, she's like God among people. She's the GOAT. I don't even know how to describe it. She's amazing. So I knew a lot about Iowa before I even headed up there.
Well, that had to give you different meaning when you walked into Carver Hawkeye Arena for the first time, I would assume, huh?
Oh, and the first thing I did was, where's her little her spot on that court? And
her sticker on the floor, right?
Man, I looked down and I looked up. I was like, huh? And man, she can really shoot like that. That a couple feet in front of half court. I was like, man, this is crazy.
That's tremendous. The campus, the academics, what are you interested in doing? Obviously, everybody wants to play in the NBA, but
Right.
I know you're an outstanding student. What do you like academically?
So I'm graduating in a few weeks. Oh, I can't wait. In sports management. And then I'm gonna look through the program and figure out, because I want to graduate with my master's in 1 year from Iowa. So that's my plan, and I'm gonna figure out which exactly department I want to go through and search at. But I'm going to graduate for sure within a year with being in Iowa.
As we wrap up this week's Fight for Iowa podcast with Drew Thelwell from Orlando, Florida, and Morehead State, a great program out of Kentucky. If the Iowa fans looking at you for the first time tomorrow, Drew, on the basketball floor, describe your style, describe your play. Obviously, you're very adjustable. You can play slow down, you can play giddy up, go. What are they going to see in Drew Thelwell?
They're gonna see a kid that wants to win. In his last year, everything's gonna be about winning. That's my number one priority. We're gonna go into March Madness. We're gonna make a run. We're getting to the Final Four because it's something I've written down already in my mind. Stats and all that other stuff, cool, that can happen later. But as for my last year, I want the city of Iowa to know, like, I'm coming here to win. I'm not coming here to worry about any other stuff. I'm coming here to win.
Thelwell has 1 year of eligibility and plans to make the most of it in a Hawkeye uniform. Iowa continues to search for a power rebounder to go with a solid group of returnees, including the Big Ten's Freshman of the Year, Owen Freeman, and conference-leading three-point shooter Peyton Sanford. Welcome to the Hawks' Nest, Drew Thelwell. The Big Ten Conference this week announced the single and double play opponents for each of the now 18 conference schools. Dates and times will be announced in the near future. The Iowa men finished 10-10 and in a sixth-place tie this past season. The Hawkeyes' home and away opponents are Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Northwestern. The new schedule includes home games with Oregon and Washington, while the Hawks will play at UCLA and USC. The Iowa Athletic Department this week recognized the academic and athletic accomplishments of student athletes at the 7th annual Golden Hawkeyes. Basketball's Caitlin Clark and wrestling's Real Woods were named UI Athletes of the Year. Football's Tori Taylor and basketball's Kate Martin are Hawkeyes of the Year. Breakthrough Athletes of the Year went to basketball's Sid Afalter and Peyton Sanford. The outstanding newcomer trophies are now held by wrestler Marlin Dede, Diane Van Alsem in field hockey, and basketball's Owen Freeman. Women's basketball and men's track and field won Golden Hawkeye hardware as outstanding teams for the school year. That's this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. I'm Gary Dolphin. Go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.